Hey everyone, so yeah, I'm back, believe it or not, in a brand new place that's actually a little bit bigger than my old place. Of course, the larger parts are really more the living room and the kitchen, which was much needed. Unfortunately, that also means sacrificing some space in the bedrooms. My old place actually had larger bedrooms. This one not so much, but that's okay. It just means I have to get a little more creative with how I arrange my games and shelves and everything else. As you can see, you can actually see some of the games I have behind me. These are the full Dreamcast collection, as well as the PlayStation Vita collection I have. There's some Sega CD games you can see kind of right there. And then below, we actually have the Thomas Wave games here. They're just kind of stacked, and you can't see them, but the Saturn stuff is also behind me. And of course, we have the glass cases are still here. They're empty right now because I haven't had a chance to unpack any of the statues. I still have a ton of boxes to go through. I'm recording this on December 29th in the evening. We have a snowstorm actually hitting right now, where it's doing about an inch an hour. Kind of a lot of stuff. But yeah, just wanted to say, hey, I'm kind of back in the swing of things now. My computer is set up. I can actually do videos again. So there's some things that happen. I mean, it's been almost 3 months really. In between there, since I didn't have a mortgage or utilities to pay, I got a little carried away with picking up some more games that normally I really wouldn't. So it was kind of a nice opportunity to I got some things I would normally have to pass on just because of budgeting and everything. Now I've got to kind of scale that back. But some interesting things. The housing market is still crazy. It was insane. I missed out on 3 other homes during the 3 months. It's like I would set up a walkthrough, and then within a couple hours, they would call me and say, "Hey, we're canceling your walkthrough because the owners accepted an offer from a couple that went through, just 30 minutes ago." And it tends to happen. Thankfully, I was able to get this one. They accepted my offer. It's a much newer home than what I'm used to, so there's some interesting things. Even for a newer home, there's still a lot of work to be done and put into them. So, but yeah, I thought I'd say hi, and I'm back. I've popped into a few streams on YouTube. I've actually started streaming again yesterday. I should say two Mondays ago. It was my official start, but I really got back into the swing of things yesterday when I did a stream for Megavisions, and it's been fun. I missed it. I kind of missed doing this, just kind of blabbing, talking to people, hanging out. Um, some things going forward, I'm gonna try to make this as chill as possible. I have no need to be, I have no sponsors. I'm not a big channel by any means, and I'm okay with that. I like being small. It keeps me out of the limelight and away from people, and I can kind of slip in and out, and nobody notices me, which is kind of nice. So, but if people are interested, I do have some pickups. A couple games, not all of them that I picked up. A lot of them I actually had a lot of import Vita games come through. But I figured to hold off on some of that stuff. As you can see, there's a lot behind me that I eventually have to go through. I mean, that full shelf up here is nothing but limited run Vita games. It's nuts. Be so happy when that's over. Just one more. Yeah. Anyway. So, speaking of limited run, I did pick up some of their PlayStation 4 releases. And I'm just going to kind of zip through them. But most of these are fighting games, a genre I'm very fond of, if nobody can tell. So, this is also on the Dreamcast. So, I figured, it's always nice to have extra physical copies of games, especially if they're on newer systems. So, they're doing this SNK run. So, I got The Last Blade 2, a really great weapons fighter, which I really enjoy. Really nice soundtrack, gorgeous graphics. You can't go wrong with this game. It is available digitally, which I've had digitally for a long time on both Vita and PlayStation 4 because it was cross-buy. So you buy the PlayStation 4 version, you get the Vita one for free. Good deal. Same thing with this one. Garou, Mark of the Wolves. Probably one of my favorite Fatal Fury games. A favorite of a lot of people. It's just a lot of... I got a lot of time I've put into this on the Dreamcast version. Then we have, of course, a classic, King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match. the ultimate version of King of Fighters 98. This was actually King of Fighters 99 on the Sega Dreamcast. So we did get a version of this. But now to have this on the PlayStation 4, it's kind of interesting. But the fact, too, that you have online playability, I'll take it. And I also ended up picking up the soundtrack to King of Fighters 98 because I thought it was kind of cool. 45 tracks on here, some cool stuff. I have to get that listened because I haven't done so yet. And I also picked up the classic edition of Streets of Rage 4. Big guy. This is the PlayStation 4 version that has the steelbook case, the soundtrack, the card, and of course the PlayStation 4 game. And I'm not going to really open it because I'm sure people have done unboxings that are all over YouTube for that stuff. Continuing on, we actually have a couple of Vita games here. Import stuff. These are visual novels that I got. This one is still available on their site. These are limited, I think only to about 1,500 copies each of these. So I'm surprised this one's still around. This is Root Double, kind of a mystery thing. I think there's like two, this is extended edition. So it is kind of the updated version that Japan got with all the DLC and everything on it, which is really nice. And it comes with the soundtrack and everything like that. The same with this one. This one is sold out. And I got a really low number. This is number 22. This is Nicole, limited edition. A kind of murder mystery type visual novel, I guess, is what this one is. I thought it looked interesting, so... And I'm beginning into visual novels a little bit, so I figured why not. Then we also got a Switch game, Panzer Dragoon. I'm really excited to try this one. I haven't opened it yet, and disappointed at the same time, because when I received this, it was the same day that they announced a PlayStation 4 version with a actual Sega Saturn logo on the side and markings to make it look like an official Sega Saturn game, like the original, which was on Saturn. But this has got a nice Saturn case. Kind of tempted to honestly use this as a replacement case for one of my other Saturn games that's crumbling because these things are so fragile. But I haven't even opened this Switch version one because I want the PlayStation 4 one, so I don't know if I may gut this or if I'm going to end up just offering this to a couple friends and saying, hey, if you want to copy Panzer Dragoon on Switch, I'm willing to trade. And then there was a couple deals, of course, because of Christmas on Amazon, and I finally picked up Under Night and Birth. If you can't tell the theme going here, there's a lot of fighting games. Because I do like the genre, and I enjoy learning this stuff. Paper, rock, scissors type games. And they're tough to learn, and I put many hours into them. So, and the last Under Night and Birth game I had was actually on the PlayStation 3. So that is one of the latest versions, or latest, actually it says EX Latest on the spine, so. Another interesting thing, a lot of the guys on the Mechavision's Discord was talking about this guy on Twitter who makes reproduction Sega CD and Sega Saturn games. And he works on a lot of import games that most people wouldn't be able to afford, like the $300-400 games that are imports that are really hard to get and kind of obscure and a little on the uncommon side. He's done reproductions for the Snatcher, and he redoes all the art, redoes all the manuals, and they look amazing. And they're very affordable. He does Ultimate Editions, which come in the Sega Saturn cases, reproduces the manuals, does really nice disc art and everything, makes it look completely legit, and sells them at a third of the price. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So I got in touch with them and I said, hey, I'm interested in one of your products. And I said, what do you have available? Because he only does small batches at a time, and then usually once they're gone, that's it. Unless he announces that he's going to do a second batch. So he says, well, I've got this one up right now. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. It's one that's very sought after, that it's very difficult to get, and goes, I think it's like a $300 to $400 game, and it's an import. And I can't show off a lot of it for a particular reason, but it's Steam Hearts. And this is a shoot-'em-up game, or a shmup, or a shooter, or whatever you want to say. But the unique thing about this is it's a very spicy game. Definitely for 18 and older. And I won't show the backside because it does have some risque images on the back. But this is one that I've always wanted to at least try. And I'm not, you can get it on emulation and whatever. I'm not really big on emulation too much unless I really have to. But he offered this to me at a really great price. I think it was only like $25 for this. He does do a classic version where he's like, I do have, for 3 times the amount. I'll do the Saturn case and do the reproduction manual and everything and throw in some extra goodies. And I was like, no, I'm okay with the standard version for now. I just want to be able to have the game and play it. And the tricky thing is, with Saturn games, you have to have a pseudo-Saturn cart to actually play them, unlike the Sega CD, where you can just take the reproduction disc, pop it in, and it plays, because there's no protection on those discs as they're on the Saturn. So, of course, he threw one in for me as well. So I do have a pseudo-Saturn cart. And I have like a couple action replay cards, and that's basically what this is, just a modified action replay cart for the Saturn. So I can actually play that game and see what it's all the hubbub's about. So kind of excited about that. But and I'm looking forward to some of his other projects, and if it's something you guys are interested in, leave me a message. I don't want to give out his name really, because I'm not sure if he's okay with that. I haven't talked to him about that. But I will send him a note if anybody wants to know. He's doing a run right now of Lunar 1 and 2, and the artwork he's done for it looks amazing. Even though I have the originals on Sega CD, I'm really tempted to kind of pick one of those up from him. It's the retranslated version, so it's got like fan translations, and they put back in all the stuff that they edited out of the American version, and then does all the packaging and everything himself, and it's amazing work. I mean, the guy does a great job. He's really big into the retro scene, so like I said, if you're interested, let me know. I'll get a hold of him and ask if he's okay with me giving his name and whatever. So something going on. Now a little bit of a passion project. In some past videos, I had shown off some Darkstalkers pins that I got in blind packages, and Udon for Christmas said, "Hey, we've got a few left over. We've opened them up so they're no longer blind, and you can choose the ones that you want, or if you're missing any, to complete your collection." So, of course, I jumped on it. I was like, heck yeah, I can get these other ones without having to take that gamble of, well, if I buy 2, am I going to get 2 that I already have, which has already happened with a couple of them. So I got the missing ones that I wanted, and I was like, okay, now that I have these pins, I'd like to display them in some way. So I did a little research and some digging and came up with a plan, and I found this really cool shadow box at Michael's, and I threw this up on my Twitter account, so some people have already seen this. But I have all the pins, and I set them up in the same way that they're represented in the character select screen of the original Darkstalkers game. And then I had a friend print out the logo for me, threw on some black foam on the back, and cut it to the size of this shadow box. And now I have it, and I can hang it up on my wall, which I plan on doing with my little Darkstalkers collection that I have, that I'm slowly setting up and unpacking. But really looking forward to that. I love how this turned out. I think I did a pretty good job. I don't know. And it's a nice, heavy shadow box, and I think it opens up actually this way, and it's got a little magnet clip on the top, so I can still straighten them out if anything happens. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. A little fun thing to put together. And then the big thing that I got, I don't know how many people are aware, but Doc Mac, who owns Galloping Ghost, does these live auctions on their Facebook page every once in a while. And I managed to catch one. And usually I just watch him for the fun, or I get friends and say, hey, he's auctioning off like marquees and so forth on some arcade systems. I just enjoy watching auctions on arcade stuff. It's just kind of amazing to see them. They start at a low level and they shoot up, and people get into bidding wars for them and everything. And this time they're very laid back when Mac does them. It's like they throw out a board that's kind of uncommon, like they did an NBA Jam one, which I hardly ever see. They did an Aliens vs. Predator one, and that one got a little bit of a bidding war going. I actually tried to get that one and I ended up losing out on it because they reached my budget for it that I was really willing to spend. But this one in particular I thought was interesting because it was like nobody bid on it. And I was like, wow, I don't really have that genre in any of my arcade collection. Might be interesting to get one. So I kind of sat back just to see what would happen. Nobody bid on it. Was super surprised, especially with what board it was. And they started to move on because they're like, okay, well, nobody's bidding. We're going to go on to the next board. And I was like, well, if nobody is, I open it back up for me if you can. We can. I'm willing to put down whatever the minimum bid was. So he did. He went back and he was awesome enough to do that. And sure enough, nobody else had any interest in it. So I said, sold. Give it to me. I will take it. So Mega Matt, and I actually ended up taking a trip just this past weekend down to Galloping Ghost. We got to wander around the facility. Doc wasn't there personally, unfortunately. He was busy with some other thing that he had going on. So Matt and I wandered around, and they had the board ready for me to pick up anytime I wanted. So I grabbed it. And what I ended up getting is actually another shooter game. A little one called Raiden Fighters 2. And a unique board. This is a JAMA board, and the game itself is actually this black cartridge that sits on top. So you can actually swap out these little black cartridges and play various different games for this custom board. I don't recall exactly what other games were available for this board. I haven't done a lot of research on it really yet. In fact, I haven't even plugged this into my Super Gun yet. I may do that. See if there's maybe some. Maybe I'll attach some recording on the end of this video or something, but kind of excited to get this going. I haven't had a chance yet. This game was available on Raiden Fighters Aces on the Xbox 360. It was the only time it was actually really ported to consoles. So there is that. Even that collection is really kind of obscure and uncommon to come across. But I like the the Raiden series anyway, and I thought it might be interesting to get. So, and the price was actually really reasonable. It wasn't the crazy eBay prices I've seen this go for. So I was kind of excited, and it's in really great condition. Doc really takes care of his stuff. It's a little dirty, but the board, has a little dust on it. The backside's perfect. It's like they pulled it right out of the cab. But he showed that it did work. It's basically plug and play. So, but yeah, I was super surprised that nobody would bid on it. More people were after the NBA Jam more than anything, which I thought was funny. But most people have more nostalgia for that game, I think, than they do these. So, but I figure a lot of hardcore collectors that are into the arcade hardware would be more after that stuff. So, but yeah. So that's really all I've got. Oh, actually, one thing I do have. This another unique story. A lot of people figured this wasn't going to happen, but a little game showed up on my doorstep recently. This is a Kickstarter that I'd done years ago that most people have probably heard of. But this little game, and I kind of have this all over the place right now because I was actually taking a look at it. But we have a game called Paprium, a beat 'em up on the Sega Genesis. A Kickstarter most people thought was vaporware because for the longest time there was no communication from Magical Game Factory on this. People kept asking, they wouldn't respond. There was a couple videos explaining that they were having troubles in development, and some of the creators weren't exactly getting along. But I kind of hung in there for it because Louise, who actually did art for Mechavisions, kept saying, be patient, just wait. I can't give details, but just be patient. So we waited, and sure enough, we started getting our copies. And it's really amazing this actually made it through. This is kind of an interesting packaging because this isn't a real Sega Genesis box. I mean, it looks like it. They did have the 3 flavors of this. This is a limited edition available from the Kickstarter. It has the tag on it. However, it's kind of a gatefold type thing. So no clamshell. They do have a version right now that you can pre-order. They are doing a second batch of this, but it's twice the price of what it was on the Kickstarter, unfortunately. that does have the clamshell. This one is the limited edition one, which has a serial number. Mine is 1,199 out of 1,989. So a little less than 2,000 copies made. And opening up, it actually comes in. The game itself is in this little wrapper. I haven't opened it up, so you get this interesting little foil. It has the Watermelon Studio logo on it, and on the back side is the actual cartridge, and I have it upside down, and it's purple. So it is real, and people who have actually got a copy have said it's actually really good. It's got some high praise for it, even though it took forever in development, which generally it does. But I'm glad I held out. It came with some cool little goodies. We got a free manga for the Kickstarter, which I haven't gone through yet. It also came with this cool little poster with Lewis's art on it, which is kind of cool. So if I ever get to see him in person again, we have the characters on the poster, and on the back side is a map. I'll have to, didn't realize there was words there. But I thought that was kind of cool. And I'm going to have to edit that out, I guess. We, the instruction manual, which comes in every flavor language that it was made for, with some cool art on it, and it is in color, and it's actually pretty thick. So I thought that was pretty cool. My mistake with that poster, I'm not going to go into too much on what is in there. So, but that is all I've got for now. So yeah, glad to be back. I've got my setup here going, and I've already slipped into a couple streams on YouTube. So yeah, that's all I got for now. Just kind of a cool little video to say hi and say I'm here again. So anyway, that's it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.